Where do we access wisdom in the pandemic? Every week I'm going to be in conversation with my son Cameron here in our garden in Edinburgh. Not that you'll be seeing Cameron, he's behind the camera, and he'll also be playing some of his own compositions on fiddle at the beginning and end. Each week I'll be drawing on wisdom from teachers before me, sometimes ranging over the centuries, but always asking, if these teachers were with us now, what might they say to us? In this first episode, I'm going to be speaking of my father, William James Newell, who spent many years in his life in situations of international crisis and emergency aid. If he were with us now, I believe he would be encouraging us to open our hearts to the pain of what is happening in the world, to open our hearts in order to be able to access greater strength of soul to act compassionately. When I was a young man, my father was doing a lot of refugee work. Often he had to be away from home for long periods of time. This was a period of not very easy international telecommunications, so it was his practice every day to speak into a cassette tape recorder about the people he was meeting, the situations he was encountering, and once a week he would send a tape home so that we could hear his experiences. The moment that I'm recollecting was a day when he was into a refugee camp for Cambodians in the wake of the killing fields. He was meeting parents who had lost their children who had lost their parents. At the end of the day, in the car in which he was being transported to his accommodation for the night, he began to make a recording. And as he began to speak, he started to weep. The extraordinary thing about that moment is that he chose not to turn off the tape, not to erase it. So when I heard this recording sometime later, I heard my father weeping for a couple of minutes. I believe if my father had turned off the tape or had shut down to his feelings, he would not have been as strong as he was in his compassionate action for others. If he were here now, he would be challenging us to keep our hearts open, to allow ourselves to feel the pain that countless families and communities are experiencing now in nearly every country in the world. To feel the pain in order to be able to access a deep strength of soul within us, to act for one another.